You can start now, Alina.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us from Uganda, from East Africa, and internationally. Welcome to the launch of PropPulse community on PropTech Buzz. Today is less about launching a product on our side and more about launching a conversation between real estate professionals in Uganda, East Africa, and beyond. And we know that real estate markets across East Africa are evolving quickly. Information still remains fragmented, but definitely we see a lot of potential and a lot of discussions to be had about market intelligence, financing discussions, land information, and professional networks um, across sub-Saharan Africa and internationally as well. We wanted to create this space where those conversations can connect and bring together agents, developers, investors, prop tech founders and solutions, valuers, city planners, and real estate professionals from Uganda, East Africa, and beyond. My name is Alina Ebi, and I just happened to be one of the co-founders of DataPulse and PropPulse, together with my amazing partners in Uganda. And we do have with us some great professionals, such as Lazarus Mugabe, who is the president of the ARIA, the Uganda Real Estate Association, and one of our co-founders, who is Nicolas Arinaitwe, and who is the executive director of Real Estate Institute of East Africa. And of course, last but not least, my amazing co-founder and our COO in for DataPulse Limited in Uganda, Lilian Naniunja. So welcome everyone. Again, this is it's just a friendly conversation and a beginning of a community where we hope that we will have a lot of opinion, questions, articles, information about real estate in Uganda, and will also shed light on the opportunities in the real estate market in Uganda in the East African and global context. Um, Lillian, please, tell us a little bit from the local perspective how you see things and what you hope that will create with this community.
Thank you, Alina, for the amazing introduction for everyone. Good morning, everyone, and good evening for the rest of the people who are not in Uganda. Um, it is nice to be here. Of course, this is a community that brings together different sectors, different players in the market, and it's an amazing journey for all of us. And I think we are all happy to be here as industrial partners. And there is so much that Uganda has to offer. Just to give a brief about the real estate sector or the housing sector in Uganda, we basically have a deficit of about 2 million, a housing shortage of about 2 million houses, which grows by 210 units annually. And we have one of the fastest growing markets in East Africa. Um, we have a big population, a young population, and the younger population, of course, now all believe that they need housing, and that is why we come out and want to connect with different communities. PropTech Buzz is helping us connect with different markets, learn about PropTech, the different solutions that we can get to make our housing in Uganda more affordable. And of course, in Uganda, we allow major players to come in and to help us also develop our community. And we also love learning from the different sectors and the different players. Back to you, Alina. Thank you very much.
That's well put, Lilian. Thank you so much. And I think we should start with our guests and colleagues. And I will open the questions with Lazarus. You know, it's just a conversation. Lazarus, you have a lot of experience in the market. You are one of the best professionals in real estate in Uganda, and not only. And now you've just started your mandate as the president of ARIA Uganda since December last year. Great responsibility. You also just came back from MIPIM. It's actually worth mentioning that, since we would like to put Uganda in the global context. And MIPIM in Cannes this year had a really large Ugandan delegation, starting with the Minister of Housing, and with different professionals in the market, you know, spanning different areas of real estate. And I think the international real estate community saw through you the potentials in Uganda. So how would you describe the current moment in Uganda's real estate market and the opportunities?
Thank you so much, Arina, for the generous introduction. Obviously, I'm really happy to be a part of this conversation. And just reflecting on Uganda, I could say that Uganda is entering a durable economic momentum, if I can put it that way. Why? Because we are seeing our GDP, for example, expanding at 6.3%. If we reference the financial year of 2024-2025, we have seen that grow, and it's projected to be reaching 7% in this year. If we look at the comparison of the East African countries, I think we have a great team under central bank, which has been able to hold the inflation that has remained at 3.8% as of June of last year. And definitely that's below the 5% of the threshold for Bank of Uganda. We have seen a lot of inflows in terms of FDIs, foreign direct investment, reaching more than 2.3 billion. And the prop tech market is also growing and taking root in Uganda. In fact, as of this year, the prop tech market is valued at 51.8 billion, and that is a signal that there is reception of the prop tech technologies and innovations in Uganda, and that's a good thing. Now, referencing the real estate market as it is today, we have seen a lot of many international players entering the market, especially in the residential spaces. And we are, I think this week, we are seeing Marriott being launched. We have seen a lot of projects in the upper class places in Uganda, like Kololo and Nakasero. And so the confidence about the stability of the economy is attracting global players to invest in Uganda. And I must say that that's an opportunity, but on part of the Ugandans, I think we have some work to do, and that is in line with cleaning up of the data that is related to real estate. And that's why I think DataPulse comes in handy, because at the moment we usually lack aggregated data on real estate in Uganda. And so that's a problem that needs to be solved to boost investor confidence. But also, initially, we have had a lot of unprofessionalism, especially in the real estate agents. And as ARIA Uganda, our mandate is to push for professionalism. And so a lot of training is happening through our ARM Institute, the Institute of Real Estate Institute of East Africa, under the leadership of Mr. Nicholas Naitwe, who is on call. And we have seen opening of courses in other education institutions like Makerere University Business School, Nkozi, Victoria University. And so there is a push towards professionalism so that now the market can become more regulated. Obviously, we are pushing for a law to regulate the real estate agents. And I think when that law comes in, probably before the close of this year, that will be a very good step. We saw signing of the Mortgage Institutions Refinancing Act just early this year. And so what that does is that it creates opportunity to create infrastructure for mortgage refinancing. I think that's also a good move in the positive direction. And so overall, I think we are seeing interest in investing in Uganda, given the stability in our security, leadership, and governance. And obviously, we are now seeing a shift from PPs to 5Ps, if I may call it, public, private, people, policy, and partnerships. So investment is more now focused on community, the lifestyles, and the appreciation of the products as they come. We have seen recently, I think, creation of over 14 cities, and there is push to have approved plans in all those cities. And so what that does is that real estate will continue to be streamlined. So as players, I think we are excited with all the innovations and the policies that are being made to streamline the practice of real estate in Uganda. Just this week, we have been aligning the policy for the architects to make sure that whatever they design aligns with the new trends and the people's aspirations. And so there's a lot of push on the side of government to professionalize and align the industry. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Very, very good points and very good information for whoever was not familiar with the new legislation that is conducive to investment and attracting investments, and especially the Mortgage Refinancing Act, which is also very important in the financial for the financial health of any mortgage cycle and the market. And you mentioned education, which is so important, and that's why we will go to Nicholas right now, who is the executive director of Real Estate Institute of East Africa. And I know how important the education is for him, and how he proudly, tells everybody how many professionals graduated from the institute and been released into the market, right? And you hope that most of them will join the ranks of ARIA as members, because it's a professional institution, and it's important at so many levels. So Nicholas, speaking of education and speaking of everything that Lazarus referred to, how important is the education in the real estate sector, and where are we today in this cycle, in this process?
Thank you very much, Madam Arina. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here. First of all, I want to thank the organizers of this kind of conversation. And as earlier Arina had mentioned, I'm the chairman of ProPulse or DataPulse, and also the executive director of Real Estate Institute of East Africa, and the past president of ARIA. First of all, I come in the side of knowledge dispensation, because we came to find out that unless we professionalize the industry, we shall keep on stagnant. First of all, we need to know that the challenges that we have here in Uganda is lack of, for example, transparency where there's no professionalism, and you find many people being cheated because they lack information. So since 2016, we have been training many practitioners, and we have different levels of training. Those who start, who are new, we start from foundation, then they graduate to advanced certificate in real estate practice before they specialize. And we have seen a lot of achievements. We have seen many people really professionalize and start their own businesses. We have attracted many players, and also on labor mobility. We have seen that what we teach really is employable. We help people to be employed. When we do tracer studies, we find that most of the participants that went through our institute are employed, others are employing others. In fact, we get inquiries from property companies asking for members or maybe people to be recruited, and we don't find any, because whoever we train, they go and start working either on their own. And we have also taken some studies and found that there is much improvement with the people we train. There's much improvement. And for us with labor mobility, it would mean that we are achieving the objectives of this industry. First of all, information asymmetry is the one that causes all the problems that we have in Uganda. And now when PropTech comes in, we also train in technology, new asset technology. It helps us to ease what we are doing. And as my president is saying, we have seen real estate in Uganda grow from strength to strength to strength. If we take an observation, like for example, you move around some areas like Kororo, you cannot finish a whole street or a road without finding a property coming up. And what is really very interesting, maybe people need to know, is that they are trying to work on densification, where they are utilizing land optimally. Where there used to be one bungalow, they are putting there more than 50 apartments, meaning that we are growing. We are growing. So densification is very important in the growth of real estate, more especially in the areas like here in Uganda. But what is my concern of late is the slums that we have, and it's going to be now my biggest fight that I will be doing to make sure that we eliminate slums that we have around us. It's good that my president has talked about PPPs, the 5 Ps, where we are going to be involving like our private partners to come up and finance some projects. We've seen many projects come up, and it's because the government has put there an enabling environment where we can all thrive. And real estate future is very, very really promising, because government has tried to make sure that there is stability. First of all, economic stability, and run by political stability. We cannot take it for granted, because if there were challenges, like political challenges or economic challenges, we wouldn't be seeing this industry grow. The reason why it is growing, it has attracted even international players. We are seeing many international companies come here in Uganda. It's because there is a lot of business. We have Knight Frank, there is Roll, there is what, and even our own players. We have our own practitioners who have formed companies and are thriving very well. My colleague Vincent has Avat's doing very well, and others that are on board. So professionalizing the industry is very, very important, and we cannot go without it. I know that within 4 or 5 years to come, we shall be at par with other countries like European countries. What we are remaining with is to have the real estate bill go through, and us at the institute, we shall be very happy in the fact that everyone will be forced to be licensed, to professionalize, the industry, and it will be running smoothly. So we have been fighting, and I want to thank all the members that have been on board. I want to thank ProPulse. I want to thank the Buzz guys for helping us to have this community, and how I wish we can always have such a conversation. I want to thank you.
Well, thank you, Nicholas, for this perspective. And I do have more questions for you, but I'd like to get Lilian as well in this, because she has the perspective from working for government institution as well. She was the marketing and sales director for the National Housing company, which was definitely a very important experience. And when we decided and we started this company together, we came with very different experiences from different areas of expertise. And that's how we formed our company, DataPulse, in Uganda for almost 2 years right now. And has been a journey. That's what I wanted to tell something about us a little bit as well. And, you know, we were talking about data and how important is data and how much actually even the interest rate for mortgages is priced according to this lack of data, right? Because you both mentioned, Lazarus and Nicholas, that indeed the Uganda and East Africa has a stable rate of inflation, and the central banks did a fantastic job with that. And the floor rate is not that high, you know, it's 9.59% in Uganda, yet the interest rate for mortgages for the consumers, it gets to be about 20%, right? So there are layers and layers of pricing for that, just because it's the risk added for the lack of data that's not aggregated. So we came to solve that. But in the process, we knew from the very beginning that we are not going to succeed with the method that's largely used in United States, for example, you know, or in Western Europe, because that's not how things work. You need to meet the market what it is, and you need to find the right formula for each market or for markets which are similar. And this is what we are still doing, and we are in a journey here. But what do you think, Lilian, about that? About data?
Thank you both to Nicholas and Lazarus and Alina for moderating, and our community members who have joined, and the new ones. Of course, we are happy. Yeah, both Lazarus and Nicholas are both correct, and it's a bit hectic, and I'll give a bit of a journey or a background of how difficult it is if we don't have certain statistics for us to proceed or to have a proper community, and that is what DataPulse is here to try and resolve. Without proper statistics, of course, knowing up to now, yes, we have a figure of a housing deficit, but we would like to believe that the figure is way higher. But not only that, if we cannot ascertain how much everyone is constructing, how much someone can afford, and how much every different developer is putting up properties, then it becomes very difficult to get an average cost or what everyone can afford. So affordability all depends on different numbers, different statistics that we have on the market that we can put out there, and then how we calculate, and then how do we assess the mortgages, how do we assess the loans that people get, and how do we know what someone can afford and what someone cannot afford. For example, we have the border riders, the ones who ride the motorcycles, who would like to believe, okay, yes, if we wanted to say that if we wanted to go to the lowest value of chain, how much can they afford if they were to buy a property? Would love everyone to have housing at the end of the day, but how do we resolve the housing problem if we do not have proper statistics, and if we cannot ascertain what affordability really means? And this has not stopped the market from growing, the housing sector from growing, because every day and every month there are new developments that are coming up. I think the biggest issue we've faced is when we talk of affordability, what do we exactly mean? What do we input for us to be able to get to the part where it's affordable? Then we have not been able to um, to get the technology that we need for us to be able to construct more affordable housing. We do believe that as long as we continue using brick and mortar of course becomes very expensive, and that has been in different statistics in different countries has come out, and that has been pointed out by the World Bank that of course brick and mortar is more expensive than different prop tech solutions that are there. So with Data Pulse, we've come up to say that, let's try and sign on as many members, many people from different communities, people in the real estate sector, so that we come up with this information. I have it in one database and try to solve and try to find out how do we make it more affordable and how we can resolve the housing issue in Uganda. Thank you. Back to you, Alina.
Yeah, you're very well said, and we should mention that Lillian is also the vice president of the International Data Society in Uganda. So, speaking about data, of course, she's very interested in that. And I think that we're not hearing very well. I hear some some echo here. Is everybody able to hear well? Huh? I think so. Right now.
I can hear you, Alina.
Yeah,
Here,
that's good.
right.
Thank you. It's so true, because without data, you don't know how to build, for who to build, and where to build. It's very important, to be able to build very integrated communities, that they're close and cluster around public transportation, schools, hospitals, and shopping, and so on and so forth, and medical assistance as well. And speaking of that, and I'm going back to Lazarus and Nicholas, uh, do you think that the public, the borrowers, the buyers are more demanding right now, and they demand a different standard in Uganda? Because what you all say is true. Every time I come to Kampala, I see a lot of cranes dotting the sky and a lot of new developments all the time, and beautiful hotels. I've been staying at some very beautiful hotels in Kampala. And not to mention that Uganda is a very touristic country with a lot to see. It's very beautiful, very lush, with a lot to experience. And that's, I can see that boom in Kampala as a city, in construction, in residential, in commercial, in hotels. So what do you think? Are the investors right now and the consumers, they have different demands, they have different expectations? How is this changing in Uganda right now in real estate? Nicholas? Or Lazarus? Lazarus, you're back. I was asking if the consumers are more demanding right now. They ask for something else, for better loan terms, for a better quality of buildings, and for better data. How that has changed, because Uganda and Kampala in particular, they are in full development swing, and you see new constructions all the time. And obviously there are buyers, and there is appetite for all that new construction. How is the demand from the consumer side evolving? What do they expect these days?
In fact, thank you so much, Arina. I think we are seeing a very interesting trend right now. We are in a season where now people know better, people expect better, and people are demanding for better. So we are seeing right now that most of the projects that are well planned and done very well and executed very well are getting a lot of traction and a good return on the investment, as opposed to projects that are done haphazardly. Having a conversation with the architects, I think they are also beginning to feel the pressure, because Now it's a global market. People have a lot of things to compare with, and so they are demanding the highest standards of projects. So I think that for developers right now in the industry, the bar has gone a bit high. It's not about really just putting a space, but it's about making sure that everything that you do is done excellently. So I think we are seeing a lot of people demanding for better than before. So in my view, if somebody is just entering the market and they are thinking of doing haphazard projects, I think that time is almost over. Whether it is in tenancy or office space or residential or commercial, I think people are demanding for better, and government is also really pushing the standards high. They have just amended the Building Control Act, and now even when it has been a requirement before for having occupational permit, I think now the enforcement is even more, meaning that whoever is putting a project on market, they are going to try their best to satisfy the customer needs and preferences. So that's more like it at the moment.
That's very good to know. So
Yeah.
we want to, of course, invite as many investors in the real estate sector in Uganda, but also to tell them, hey, if you come here, build something well built, right? That people will want. Build something beautiful. Build something structurally sound, because the standards of the new consumers, new real estate buyers in Uganda is definitely increased. And especially the new generation expects something completely different right now. There are different expectations, and it's time to build better. So very, very, very well put. Nicolas, anything to add?
Yes, thank you very much. But it's not only about what they're demanding, but consumers are very sensitive. They are very sensitive. And I want to thank area for having educated almost the public. Now they know what they want, what a good property ought to have, how to manage a good property, how to make it livable, even including like professionals. We usually have conferences and workshops where we exchange ideas and knowledge. And today we have elite population here, people who have traveled. They know how good properties look like. So it's not about being demanding, but they are very sensitive, because if one is putting up a property, he wants to know whether it will attract tenants or whether it will bring him money. So we are seeing that as part of the growth of the industry, when even consumers come to know what they want and they demand it. So it shows a growth of the industry itself.
Yes, I think that we will want to be mindful of time, but I still have more questions. So this is great. I think we should go a little bit back to data in general and to infrastructure, because data is infrastructure at many levels. If you do have it's digital infrastructure. If you have proper data, you know how to plan, how to to where to plan and what kind of materials to use, as I mentioned before. But we also talk a lot about roads, electricity, internet connection, of course, and physical infrastructure as well. But increasingly, the markets depend on this digital infrastructure, as I was mentioning, and the reliable data. Do you think the real estate sector is beginning to understand that data and everything that associated with it's as important as the physical infrastructure, this digital infrastructure, because it allows us to plan better the physical infrastructure?
Yes, we are trying to push both the public and the government to have education on issues that are going on. Like, for example, land information system. People have not been fully using it, but here is a situation where you can easily know your property. You make a search from your office. You don't have to spend a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of work from your place. And also valuation, determining valuations of certain areas. And we are saying that if people embrace that, we shall have seamless kind of operations, and the government has helped in this. And it is upon us, the association, to educate our public, but data itself is helping us.
That's so true. Lazarus, anything to add here?
Yeah, I think it's very important for us to note that government is really moving in towards the direction of pushing for regulation across this value chain of the real estate. And that is beginning to push for profitability of the industry. For example, speaking about rental yields, we are seeing rental yields grow from 7 to 9% in prime areas like Kololo, Nakasero, Naguru. And so I think regulation is very, very important. And having the conversation with the ministry officials, I think we are yet to see more, because there is a lot of movement in terms of bridging the gaps that have been there. Why? Because the demand is real. The people that are willing to invest are real. And so having the regulated environment will guarantee confidence for investors into the real estate sector in our country.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, I like both of you or one of you to tell a little bit more to our listeners and members and our guests and friends who join, and they might be interested in the market and investments. Tell them a little bit about the digital title. I think Uganda is an example for East Africa and for the continent in general. Because of the digitized title system. It's not complete, but that's the situation in a lot of other countries, not just in Uganda. But a lot of efforts were done to digitize as much as possible of the title system. And right now there is a public interfacing portal where you can go and you can request and you can purchase a title report, and you can search your property and find out the title number, and you can do due diligences. So I'd like you to tell our listeners and viewers a little bit more about that, and about the property rights and the type of investments, and if there are any special incentives to invest and build in Uganda as an institutional investor. Or
I think, thank you so much, Arina. We must appreciate that a lot has changed since the inception of the online or digital titling system. Initially, if I may just paint an example, you needed to drive kilometers away to go to a ministry zone office and put in your application to search or find out information about a particular property, and then queue up with the files, and then make the assessment, and then make the payment, and then wait. You could spend almost a half a day or a full day just getting information about one property. Today, I can sit at office, log online, do the assessment, make the payment on my phone, and have the data that I need about a particular property. So I think the system is not fully refined, but I think we are headed in the right direction, and it's causing us reducing a lot of cost in terms of time just to search about the details of a property. For somebody that is really looking forward to investing, there are many opportunities, but especially in the residential space and increasingly in the warehousing. And of course, there are government incentives for people that are especially investing in like industrial parks, most especially those that are outside the Greater Kampala metropolitan area. There are industrial parks in the eastern part of Uganda. There are industrial parks in the western and all over the country. And so there is a lot of incentives to attract investment in those spaces, because definitely we have a very young population, and government is making a step forward into creating job opportunities for the young professionals. So is there space for investment? Ultimately, yes, but the customers are demanding for more, I think, going forward.
Yeah, and this is actually the power of digital infrastructure, because the national land system, that's exactly what it is. It's digital infrastructure, and it cuts cost and time and risk as well. Just because you can be assured that if you do a proper through verification, of course you still need attorneys, and we suggest and we encourage everyone to do that. But this is a first step, and it's a great thing to have, because you can do that search even from another country, right? If you'd like to do it, you just plug in the system and you just can do it from the comfort of your home. So that is indeed a great thing, and we would try to complement that with a solution to collaborate and to work with the government, and that's our journey, and that's what we would like to do, as you know. So, Nicolas, what do you would you like to add about this a new way of searching for property titles, technology, and the confidence for investors who are interested to invest in Uganda?
Yes, it is very important to note that the time as we are joining real estate, only 18% of Uganda was surveyed. But now the ministry has tried to make sure that they surveyed and make titles and even register them. You can easily find your title anytime, as our president has explained, and in time. And today it stands around 33% of our land that has titles. So we expect government to increase. And I want to appreciate the current minister, because she has been very serious on that. We have seen her going up country to issue titles to members and in a massive way, meaning that now we shall not be guessing. That won't be cheating as we have been having. But the challenge is now is for us to educate the public on how to access such information, how to use it, and how to do due diligence. It's very true. It started some years ago, but the public, the majority, do not know about it and even how to use it. But if it is used, and with the fact that we are going to have the bill come out, we shall see all these operations very seamless, because there will be a lot of transparency and therefore professionalizing the industry.
That's a very good point. I will go back to Lillian, because I would like, since we've been talking about technology and digital infrastructure, we need to talk about AI. We need to close with that in a way or another, because it's taking the world by storm, and I think it's having a huge impact on all economies, on global economies, at a very large scale, and it has a big impact on Uganda as well. And as you know, AI is a big consumer of energy. So now everybody is talking and is trying to negotiate and build the rails of the industry, which are, the chips and also the data centers. And I was just reading today, I think, in some magazine, that Kenya decided against building a data center, because obviously you need to make a decision, especially right now when we do have a chokehold on the oil flow throughout the world, and have energy problems, and you have to take a decision. Would you build that and you ensure the basis of a future AI technology sector in the country, or you will, take a lot of energy from an entire city eventually, from a lot of population? So, what do you think? Are there any requests or any plans to build data centers, for example, in Uganda that you know of?
Thank you, Alina. Taking us back to data centers and AI. Yes, data centers. Yes, that has been one of that's one of the biggest. I think one of the biggest requirements that I think every country would have, and it would be important because then it's a hub that takes on different responsibilities, but also on capacity building. I do appreciate the current government and Ministry of ICT and NITA for always trying to bring up these centers and trying to build capacity and trying to also put up a law. This has been a journey, I think, for the past 6 years. I think the current minister has also tried so hard to make sure that we have a transformation, a roadmap when it comes to digital transformation. So with the roadmap in Uganda, it has been clear, and I think it's being followed. Um, the ministry has put up different centers, of course. We have the main one in Kampala, not fully, I can't call it a digital center, but I would call it a hub where they are trying to take up startups and try to educate them and give them a home to start their businesses. And for those who do not know, it's actually there at the ICT Ministry and at NITA. They have that hub where they have been trying to do that. When it comes to AI, it has been a bit slow. And I wouldn't just want to blame, say, Uganda or even when Kenya refuses to do something. I think we, as East Africa or as developing countries, we tend to catch on what is moving on in the developed worlds. And then it becomes so difficult for us to get to the same stage as the developed world, because when the developed world comes to the less developed world, they expect us to be at the same level, which is not a fair thing. So we need to take steps, we need to build our systems. We cannot be at the same level when digital transformation in the developed world started 10, 15, 20 years ago. And if we are just starting it the past 6 years, then we need to catch up and we need to take our baby steps so that we can get to everything. When That is why when it comes to our land digitalization system, it has also been a bit hectic, because then people do not know what to do. They are a bit confused. They could think that they are going to lose their land by having all these systems in place, which is not true. So we need to take the steps and be there. We cannot be on top of the ladder because the rest of the world is already there. That is where sometimes I think digital transformation has become a bit difficult. And if we do not understand and if we do not take the less developed countries the way they are and try to align and have the systems developed, we will not be able to have a fully aligned digital transformation. But I appreciate the government, because the government always comes back and says, no, we need to take the baby steps and we need to get into line so that we have everything aligned. So yes, we have seen many universities, and I think now it has gone back to the secondary schools, which would be high school, colleges, to try and incorporate in the curriculums digital transformation. I think also in area we have tried so hard to try and bring on digital transformation and prop tech lessons and classes so that people are aligned and they understand what is happening. Thank you, Alina.
It's so true, because we are approaching the AI issue, or transformation, from very different angles and from different places. And I noticed that, and I know that from the beginning, coming myself from a country that's still a developing country, from Romania. And it's so true. It's important that we take the steps that we are comfortable with. We don't want to be left behind, but on the other hand, you have to choose, especially when it comes to such an energy consuming type of investment. And the reason I ask is because this is also considered a real estate asset and investment, because it's a data center, right? Except it's technically a furnace, a power plant with a roof on top, so you can measure it both in square footage and in watts, and it doesn't really create that many jobs, but it powers this incredibly powerful models. And that's why they're very controversial. Even here in the United States, there are certain states where you can see a larger concentration of data centers. And some communities don't agree because they don't feel that they get a lot out of it. On the other hand, every country, I think every government tries to make efforts to power this new technology. So that's why it's always a conundrum. So what would you like to leave our audience with? Because we would like to make a good habit here to invite as many voices possible from different areas of the real estate industry. We'd like to invite architects and surveyors and government officials to discuss the real estate sectors and its promises and also its challenges. And we hope also to involve the Eastern African community as well. So last few words for our, and thank you very much for being the first to open and help us launch the community. Lazarus,
Yes,
what would you like people to know about Uganda, or you invite them, or?
Yes, thank you so much, Arina, again for the opportunity to share a conversation with you on this platform. And I can only say that Uganda is in a good space. Looking at the property sector growth rate, which is growing at 8% per annum, I can just reference that to extend an invitation to whoever wants to invest in Uganda. And probably to the real estate agents, I think it's very important to embrace the PropTech tools on the market. Obviously, our clients are already online, so meeting them there is the most ideal thing to do. For developers, I think designing for digital tenants is more than a need in this era. Putting up smart buildings, I think, are commanding very premium rent or rental returns. That's what we are seeing, that most of the projects that have been executed very well, the demand is high, and so the rental income returns are also very high. And to the technologies, I think we appreciate the infrastructure that are being put because they are de-risking investment in real estate. And obviously, it's very important for us to reference that to make better decisions and get better returns on our investments. I think for governments, making policies and laws that can clean up or regulate the sector is a good step in the right direction, because once the market is regulated, there will be investor confidence, and then the practitioners will be able to make profitable businesses. And as I conclude, I strongly believe that the pulse of real estate is innovation, and it's not just a metaphor for something distant, but it is a thing for the community. And I think as Ugandans or as people that live in the city of Kampala, it is very important to embrace the technologies, the AIs, the smart homes, and all the PropTech tools that can make our businesses profitable. Once again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this conversation, and I'm looking forward to more like this. I thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you at our community lounge. Nicholas?
Yes, for me, I really believe in knowledge sharing, and maybe that's why I'm in education. And I want to thank you people for bringing this. And I want to call upon members on real estate practice how to join Data Pulse, but still also I want to know how ready you are usually to give us such a kind of conversation and how often, so that the public can learn what is what the trend of real estate. I want to thank you and thank you again.
Thank you, Nicolas. We really appreciate that. Lillian?
Thank you, Lazarus. Thank you, Nicolas. Thank you, our audience, Lina for moderating, and the organizers. And yes, a quick word is would love to invite as many investors back home, back to Uganda, back to East Africa to come and invest. But we also have certain requests, and we are saying that when you're a capital venturist, when you CV, an investor, try to make sure that our checklist is a little bit simplified, not as hectic as the developed world. We do have the capacity to make you money and for you to succeed within East Africa and Uganda. But the models need to be very different from what is already in the developed world. It's a word of encouragement, and we have a very supportive government that will always have the protection and the security for the investors that tend to come on board. For my fellow community members and real estate practitioners to have faith and to know that our industry is growing, but it is growing at a very fast pace. We need to try and keep up to that. And also the regulations that have come on board, that the governments have put on board, are here to help us. And they are here to throw out everything that has been prohibiting us from succeeding. And this is a good thing for us, because then we get more investors and then we get more development. Thank you very much. Back to
Thank you, everyone. I see, I'm looking at the comments. I just wanted to make sure that we don't have, and I see a comment because we're talking about data centers from Robert Bob Bokelo. And he was saying that Uganda's Nile Basin hydropower endowment position it as cost competitive AI compute jurisdiction in sub-Saharan Africa. Energy is critical. And yeah, I just I tend to agree with that. I think Uganda has so many natural resources, and so many things could be done in a very environmental friendly way to respect the nature. And because you really, the country is absolutely beautiful and green and lush, and definitely you do have that. And I like to also thank the PropTech Buzz team, Emily, who's been pushing us to launch this community, and who is also a neighbor in Kenya. She's based in Kenya. She's a fellow East African, so definitely we'll have her on board to help us. And Daryl and Ravi and the entire team. So thank you very much for being with us. And stay tuned, because we will make a good habit in bringing more real estate professionals from Uganda and East Africa and beyond to exchange opportunities, to exchange practices, ethics, and of course, technology solutions. Thank you, everyone, and have a beautiful day and good night for me.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.